Hello guys, so today we are going to talk about Kafka. So a few of the internals we'll look into. So before starting this, we will be covering the topics like Kafka basic insights, Kafka terminology, its installation, Spring and Kafka dev environment code base, creating Kafka producers and consumers in Java, Kafka storage architecture, and some hands-on practice on Kafka in Spring application. So these will be covered in couple of videos. So today, what we are going to cover is Kafka basics insights. So first of all, Kafka is a publisher and subscribe based durable message system which is written in Java and Scala. So it was originally created by LinkedIn, but now it has been maintained by the organization called Confluence. So the Kafka allows us to decouple the data streams and the systems. Like the source system will push the data into the Kafka broker, and the target source will take that data or fetch that data from that Kafka broker, and it will consume it. So it is resilient, which means it recovers quickly, it is distributed, and it is fault tolerant, which means it will be continuing in operating without any interruption. And it also scales horizontally. So it can scale to millions of messages per second, which means that it can scale to hundreds of brokers. It helps us in providing high performance and low latency, even less than 10 milliseconds in real time, provided we have good machines with us. So now let's come to the use cases of Kafka. It can be used for messaging system, activity tracking, system processing, for example, like Kafka Streams API or Spark, decoupling of the system dependencies, aggregation of the application logs, gathering the metrics from the different geolocations, or even to perform big data integrations, for example, like Spark, Link, Hadoop, etc. So let's come to the usage examples, like what are the organizations which are using this Kafka currently in their environment. So first one is LinkedIn. So as we know, LinkedIn has created Kafka originally to solve its problem. So it helps to prevent spam, collect user interactions, and make a better recommendations in real time. So for example, when we see it at the screen of the LinkedIn, we see that sometimes, not sometimes, actually in the right side, we get couple of suggestions of a few people, like we might know them at first link, second link, or third link connections. So all this happens behind the scene. We use Kafka for that, all those recommendations. So the next organization which uses Kafka is Uber for multiple things in it. So first one is it gathers the user's information and all the trip data information in the real time, based on which it computes the search prices in real time, as well as forecasting the demand of the taxis in the real time. All it does with the help of Kafka behind the scenes. So the next organization which uses Kafka extensively is Netflix. So all the recommendations we get while we are watching the shows, it all is happening with the help of Kafka behind the scenes. So these were the few organizations which were using Kafka. Now you might be having one question in your mind: what exactly is that which makes Kafka fast? So there are a couple of technologies which helps to make Apache Kafka fast. One is low latency message delivery, batch data and compression, and horizontal scaling. So in low latency message delivery, what exactly happens is that most of the traditional data systems uses RAM as a data storage, which provides extremely low latency for the any given program. But there are obviously some pros and cons to each and everything. So once we use RAM, it makes the processing very fast. But the RAM is very costlier than the disk, especially when you have hundreds of Gbps data flowing through your system. So Kafka, what does is it avoids the RAM to achieve the low latency message delivery through two of the things. One is sequential IO and the second is zero copy principle. So Kafka relies heavily on IO file system for storing and caching the messages, and the zero copy principle is that it do not copy the data into the application. So for batch data and compression, efficient compression requires compressing multiple messages together rather than compressing every message individually. So what happens is Kafka supports multiple messages compression by its recursive message sets strategy. So the last point is horizontally scaling. Like we know, every hardware has some limit. It cannot definitely scale upwards, right? So what if our machine gets down? Usually we require some downtime. So horizontally scaling is the term which will help to solve this problem by adding more machines. So Kafka has an ability to have thousands of partitions for a single topic spread among thousands of machines. That means that Kafka can handle a huge amount of loads. So next point comes is when we should not use Kafka. So for that there are a couple of points. So first of all, when you need to process only small amount of messages per day, only up to some thousands, we should not use Kafka because it overkills when you need to only process a small amount of data. So Kafka is a great solution for delivering messages, but despite the fact that Kafka has a stream API, it is not easy to perform the data transformations on fly. So for that we need to build a complex pipeline of some interactions which requires a lot of work and effort. So we should um, avoid using it for ETL jobs, especially when the real-time data processing is needed. We should not use Kafka when we are going to make a very simple queue task. For that, we should use some different queues. So, for example, like RabbitMQ, we can use for that purpose. We should also not use Kafka if we need to use it only as a database. One of the reasons for that is Kafka is not good for long-term storage. It supports data like saving for a specific amount of time, but generally it should not be very long. Kafka also like stores redundant copies of data, which can increase our storage cost. So I think so for that reason, if we want to use it as a DB, we shouldn't use it. Rather than we can use some other DB like NoSQL or SQL kind of DBs for that. So basically, Kafka is mainly used as a transportation mechanism, and people still need to write their applications to make things work and pass on the message from one place to another as a producer and consumer. Thank you for watching the video. We will be covering the topics in the next upcoming videos.